like to thank you all for joining us today for our Citizen Scholars discussion with LaDonna Croft, Stacia Rigney, and students Aaliyah Jones and Lacey Councilman. My name's Abby Clothier, and I will be moderating today's discussion. A little bit about me: I'm a senior here at Michigan State and will be graduating this spring. My major is humanities pre-law with a minor in global studies, which puts me in the College of Arts and Letters. I also am a student receptionist for the college. Before we begin the discussion, for those of you who are new to Zoom, I would like to direct you to the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. You may use the Q&A button to submit any questions you have at any point of the webinar. We will keep track of your questions and be sure to address them to our speakers here today. I would also like to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel within the next few days for those who could not make it today or would like to watch it back at your leisure. The only faces that will be shown today and on the recorded version are those of the presenters, so you do not have to worry about your camera or microphone. I would now like to introduce our speakers for today. Stacia Rigney is the Director of the Citizen Scholars Program, and LaDonna Croft is the Citizen Scholars Program Coordinator. Aaliyah Jones and Lacey Councilman are students here at MSU who look forward to sharing the amazing experiences they have had being part of the program. Stacia, I would now like to give you the floor.
Thank you, Abby. Hi, everyone. So I'm Stacia Rigney, and actually more recently, Stacia Morosky Rigney, because of my COVID wedding that we had in quarantine in my backyard in April. So I'm originally from Kentucky, but I taught in Nashville, Tennessee at Lipscomb University for the last 10 years, lived in Nashville for about 20 years. And I'm new to Michigan State, so it's really exciting to get to work with the Citizen Scholars Program so quickly into my time here. It's my second year as a Spartan, so go green. My PhD is in Rhet Comp and pop culture and critical theory, but I have worked a lot with service learning, undergraduate education, and global and community engagement with the 3 programs that I directed before coming here. And I'm super excited to work with Citizen Scholars because I really like the idea that students can create their own professional goals. They can work their major and their jobs around their ethical stances on justice and service and engagement. So I am super excited to work with this program and to talk more with you about it. And I'll throw it to LaDonna so that she can introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy that you chose to be here with us today. I certainly hope that you and your loved ones are well. My name is LaDonna Croft, and I am the coordinator of the Citizen Scholars Program. I joined the College of Arts and Letters and the Citizen Scholars team a little over a year ago. Regarding my background, I was actually in ministry for a number of years with a degree in practical theology. I also have undergrad and grad degrees, both in business. I began working in higher education and the university settings, particularly about 10 years ago, primarily in academic advising and program coordination. And I'm very excited to be working with the Citizen Scholars Program, excited to be here to talk with you today about the program. And we have 2 students here with us as well. And I want to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. First, Aaliyah Jones, and then Lacey Councilman. Aaliyah.
Thank you, LaDonna. Hi, everyone. My name is Aaliyah Jones. I am currently a senior originally from Canton, Michigan. So if you're familiar with Michigan, and you've been to the IKEA in Michigan, that's essentially where I live. I am studying humanities pre-law with a minor in African American and African Studies. Some, things I'm involved in on campus. I have worked as a resident assistant for the past 2 years and currently working as a student success mentor. So I am fortunate to be living on campus right now, which is exciting. And I also am in a number of other involvements, but one of my favorites being I work as an MSU tour guide. So I know a lot of random facts about the university, and it's a passion of mine. So I'm super excited to be here today talking with you all. Oh, I guess I could also mention that I am a member of this year's homecoming court, so it is a bit different being virtual, but it's still an honor nonetheless. So I will pass it on to Lacey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lacey Councilman. I am a second-year student majoring in professional and public writing and public relations. I'm from Georgia, which is where I am right now, so like Stacia, I've got those southern roots, but I'm definitely missing Michigan and wishing I was on campus like Aaliyah. Some things I'm involved with other than Citizen Scholars, of course. I am a member of VIM Magazine, which is a fashion and lifestyle magazine. We actually have our fall issue coming out in a few days. So I work on the editing team for that, and that's something that I really enjoy doing. And then I also work for The Current, which is another magazine at Michigan State, writing and editing and doing the layout for that magazine. So that's something I really enjoy doing, and it's been fun to kind of expand those interests with Citizen Scholars.
Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. So we'll get started by telling you all just a little bit about the Citizen Scholars program, and then we'll give you the opportunity to ask some questions at the end. We want to make this a conversation as much as we can, so we'll get the questions from Abby. So the Citizen Scholars program started in 2016, and the idea was to have a co-curricular program that would allow students to work toward a lifetime of social justice, human rights, and global awareness, and equity work in the arts and humanities. And so it would allow anything that they do as a professional career, anything they're doing as their major, to also work toward their personal goals. And the idea of this program is that it will happen in co-curricular events on campus. So we do have one introductory course that students take as sort of a gateway to the program, where they learn the key terms and sort of the definitions and the mission behind the program. But we also have lots of co-curricular events, and LaDonna and I love alliteration, so we name them all like C words, like Citizen Chill and Citizen Comments, and we promote these ideas to our students and these events to our students, so that we can all build community around our goal of an ethical world and a more just world. The program description that I just gave you is sort of a revision of our original mission, and it's a newer version of the original mission. We're trying to return to the co-curricular. In the past, we had a few classes, and we had done some other things to try to see how that would work for the program. But what we found is what we really want to do is build community. And we really want to give our students an opportunity to get to know each other and to work together. And so what we can do is co-curriculars that encourage that. One of the things that has happened during our revision is that we've really thought more intentionally about connecting our mission to the College of Arts and Letters and to the mission of the college as a whole. And the mission of the college discusses how we want our students to create meaningful impact in our world. And so what we're really trying to hope to do in Citizen Scholars, or what we're hoping to do in Citizen Scholars, is to accelerate and intensify that mission. And those two words are really important to us because this is an aspirational program. It's a program where students can come into the university in their first year or now as transfer students, and they can join this program and they can learn how to apply this goal of creating meaningful impact in the world through their personal and professional lives by taking intentional steps. And that's really the difference in what we do as Citizen Scholars versus every other Cal student, is that our Citizen Scholar students take intentional steps to accelerate and to intensify Cal's mission. So one of the other things, other than the class, that students do in the program is they create a citizen project, and this is something we're incredibly proud of. And we encourage our students to create a project team, and this might be a faculty member and someone who works with Citizen Scholars, and then also a community member, possibly an advisor or someone in the student's major or professional area. And they work with this team to create a project that is sustainable beyond their time of actually working on the project. So it may be something they do as an internship, or it may be volunteering at a nonprofit. It may be designing a program that's sustainable for a nonprofit. But it allows students to really think about how they can create the job they want once they're no longer students at MSU. And so we're giving them a step into the professional world, and hopefully a step toward a job that they find both meaningful and satisfying. We also ask that they put a proposal together for that project, and then at the end that they do a formal presentation for the project. So our alums from the program, our donors to the program, they actually will get to come and watch our students present all the great work that they've done during their citizen projects. And we think this is going to be a super exciting revision to the program, that we're going to have the opportunity to include more people in our students' good work, because they are the shining stars. LaDonna and I get to watch them grow and change and be wonderful every single day, but we want to share that with people outside of just our program because we have such great students. The last thing I'll mention is that students in the Citizen Scholars Program have the opportunity to earn a $5,000 scholarship, and this can be used toward internship credits, it can be used toward travel, or it can be used toward project needs as they're putting together their citizen project. So we evaluate those needs as they arise, and students propose how they'll spend that money. It's a really great opportunity for students who otherwise may not have had the opportunity to travel, and we all know right now no one has much of an opportunity to travel, but we all know that hopefully in the future they'll have that opportunity again, and so it gives students the opportunity to learn more globally and to engage in areas of the world that maybe they wouldn't have had the opportunity to otherwise. Or to have internship opportunities that they couldn't have had otherwise without that money. So we hope that this is a good overview of sort of what we're thinking. And so now I'm going to turn it over to LaDonna so she can talk to you about more of the personal side and less of the administrative side of the program.
Thank you so much, Stacia. Now, I will say this, anyone who knows me, they know that I genuinely love people. When I say that, I feel it in my heart because it's so true. I genuinely love people. And not only do I love people, but I also believe that as people, as humans, right, we have the capacity to do amazing things for the benefit of others. But we don't always get it right. And that's okay. So when I think about our students that choose to be part of Citizen Scholars, though they are all very different, they're from different backgrounds, they have different career aspirations, personality, character traits, you name it, they're all unique in their own way. But I believe that they all have this common thread between each of them, and that is this deep understanding that there is something that they can do to make the world better, while also pursuing whatever their personal goals may be. And so I get the privilege of connecting with our students in very close and intimate ways and talking about the things that they are passionate about and how we as a program can sort of help them reach their potential and help them accomplish those things that they want to do to impact the world. And just a little bit after I have Aaliyah and Lacey share with you, I do want to share some projects that our students have worked on in the past. But first, I want you to hear from our students in the program. I'll start with Lacey. Lacey, if you want to talk a bit about what drew you to Citizen Scholars and how you hope to use the program to your advantage as a student, professionally, also as a global citizen. And then Aaliyah, you can jump in and talk about your time as a student in the program as well. You're graduating soon, Aaliyah, so even just reflecting a bit on what you learned and what you're hoping to take with you as you move forward. Lacey?
Thank you, LaDonna. So coming, as an out-of-state student, like I mentioned, coming from Georgia to a school that is really big, Michigan State is such a large school, and I didn't know anyone. One of the things that was really important to me was finding that community. That was kind of the first thing that stood out about Citizen Scholars. When I visited Michigan State and had the opportunity to hear from students who were in the program, you could tell just in their presentation how much they really loved the program. You could see the passion they had for it, and seeing like-minded students who wanted to challenge themselves and wanted to have that further involvement was something that really stood out to me and drew me to the program. So even before I had committed to Michigan State, I knew that if I was going to be a Spartan, I was going to be a Citizen Scholar. I love, again, that sense of community. That was really important to me. And I did make some of my best friends from Citizen Scholars. Being able to have classes with people where it's a smaller class and you're really getting to engage with those people inside and outside of class is something that's really important when you are coming in. And I had those feelings of homesickness. So that was a huge part for me. And then, of course, the opportunities I really loved that Citizen Scholars not only challenges you academically, but it challenges you in those aspects of service and personal growth. That's something that I didn't want to stop doing when I started college. So being again with like-minded students, people who do want to push themselves and want to go above and beyond what the regular college experience is, were all things that drew me to the program. So again, those classes that I had my freshman year were a huge part of making Michigan State feel more like home, making those friendships and connections with my professors and with LaDonna, who, as you can all tell, is just the friendliest person on campus. So all of those things were really exciting. And now, as I'm moving forward in the Citizen Scholar program, it's amazing to have the opportunity to work on my interests as an intern with the program, to learn more about public relations as I'm working with the program, and also to have those opportunities to be involved in the community. Last year, I volunteered with one of those programs that another student had done as their project, doing reading buddies at the East Lansing Public Library. So again, being involved in the community, giving back to the East Lansing area were all things that made me really fall in love with the Citizen Scholar program. So now I'll hand it over to Aaliyah so she can tell you a little bit more about what it looks like when you reach the end of the program.
Wow, thank you, Lacey. That was so just like inspiring and encouraging. I actually like sparked some ideas, so I wrote some things down so I don't forget to mention them. But yeah, so it is my 4th year in the program, and I also too work as an intern with the programs, more specifically in outreach and working with students and sort of that kind of ambassadorship role, which is something that I realized I have sparked an interest in and a passion about that I wouldn't have really known had I not been in this program. So what I wrote down was that there are a lot of things about me that I wouldn't know had I not become a Citizen Scholar. So there are a lot of interests that I have that I was kind of just like thrown into. Like my freshman year, we were doing a lot of my favorite events were the cross-cultural events. So we were going to like Japanese dance shows and going to plays in downtown Detroit and trying West African food and just all of this, like all these amazing experiences that I genuinely wouldn't know about myself had I not had the opportunity, and really just enhancing and sparking a appreciation for the arts in general, because I am a pre-law major that happens to fit in the College of Arts and Letters. And so I was never really somebody who was, I guess, like in my definition of artistic, but through the Citizen Scholars program and developing my interests and passions, I've discovered that I actually am artistic. Just art takes different forms, right? So I have been very fortunate to utilize the scholarship funding that Citizen Scholars program does provide. So 2 summers ago now, I spent 8 weeks in Sydney, Australia. I was working in internship with 3M in digital marketing. So it was absolutely an amazing experience. Not only was I getting this real world experience with one of the world's largest corporations, but I was 10,000 miles away from East Lansing, and it was such just a thrilling experience to be combining, okay, I'm getting this experience, but I'm also getting college credit for this, but I'm also getting real world life experience. I'm also getting cultural experience. And so it was just, it just really combined a lot of, the aspects and what we hope to sort of grow in while during our time as undergraduates. I was able to experience all in just that one summer. And so I always touch on a couple things that I did. I got to see a show at the Sydney Opera House. I went snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef. I always mention what I ate because I'm an adventurous eater. LaDonna and Stacia and people have heard this story so many times, but I ate kangaroo the first night. I had crocodile on pizza. It was delicious. And I also ate live termites out of a tree. So lots of fun and exciting experiences that I wouldn't have had I not came to MSU, become a citizen scholar, and knew that this opportunity was for me, right? So there's just, I could honestly go on and on and on about the Citizen Scholars Program. I mean, I've been talking about it for so long now, but I also, outside of the study abroad internship for the summer, I went, my junior year last year on spring break, I went abroad again. I did a service learning trip to San Ignacio, Belize, where I worked or volunteered in a classroom of 5th graders. It was a math class, and as a pre-law major, math is not my strong suit, but luckily it was just basic fractions, so I could kind of get it. But yeah, that was a great experience. And that, again, even though this wasn't necessarily a Citizen Scholars program, the whole component of service learning is, again, something that has really been just instilled within me and within the program since the very beginning. I mean, I was the second cohort to actually go through the program and have those experiences. And so just a heightened appreciation for seeking out global experiences and serving our community and understanding that our community is yes, the greater Lansing area, but also this entire world. So lots of things that I have learned, and I'm excited. I know that through the program, through the college, through MSU, I am fully prepared and equipped to do whatever it is that I'm going to do. Do I know what I'm going to do? Maybe not really. Not 100% sure yet, but am I confident that I will be fully prepared for it? Yes. And so I'm just really excited for the future and thankful for the program. So yeah, that was my little spiel. Not sure if I'm passing it to LaDonna or Abby for questions, but whoever is next.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah and Lacey. I love hearing our students talk about their experiences. I agree with you, Jacqueline. They are so high energy, and I think they display wonderfully what our program, is all about. And I did see, since I'm looking in the chat and I'm getting ready to talk about my experience with talking with our students about their projects. So I do serve as the advisor for Citizen Scholar students. That's a privilege that I get to have. And the advising that I do, it's so great because I don't talk to them about take this class and take that class and, you need this before you can graduate, but it's more about, okay, LaDonna, let's sit down and talk about my passion and my goals and what I want to accomplish and how can we make that happen. Those are the conversations that I get to have. Aaliyah and I have had so many conversations really too, just about life, because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we're living life and we're sharing this space with one another. And I want all of our students to do that in the most successful way possible. And so that means, yeah, we'll talk about your life. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about those things and it'll be great. And we'll get to know one another. And I will give, I give our students all of the opportunities that I can sort of lay before them. Every resource that I have, I want to make sure that I give it to our students. I want our students to excel as much as possible. So I want to spend just a couple minutes talking with you. I'm going to share my screen and I'll spend a couple minutes just sharing with you a couple of the projects that our students have done. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and make this larger so we can see that in a greater way. Yeah, so this first student here, Sophie, she recently presented research fall 2019 at the Midwest Conference on Asian Affairs. So she did research on Asian American adoptees, Asia, and cultural identity. And I'm gonna tell you all, when I went to her session, she was a part of a panel, and I sat there in that room and I looked at Sophie on that stage and I was just so proud of the work that she put together. I was proud of her voice in that space. I was proud of her sharing her experiences and what she's learned. And so our students, as Stacia mentioned earlier, they can do all types of things for their projects. It can be research. It could be developing a program, working with community partners. Lacey mentioned earlier the Reading Buddies program that's at East Lansing Public Library. So Abby, along with Sophie, they partnered with East Lansing Public Libraries and they helped to coordinate the Reading Buddies program, where every Thursday we had citizen scholars going to the public library and reading to children. And we did it until the spring semester when COVID happened, and then we had to make adjustments. But it was something that our students were so very proud of, and it's something that we're excited about relaunching once we're able to get back, and be physically together. Some other things, whoops, went too fast. Some other things that our students have done. So Tiffany and Imani, they organized the holiday book drive. They collected over 2,000 books. They kept these books in their dorm room. And when they collected this number of books, they distributed them to the Lansing Public Schools, to the Boys and Girls Club of Lansing. I have another student who isn't on the slideshow, but I really want to talk about her work as well. Her name is Kayla. And Kayla is a theater major, and Kayla is passionate about sexual assault awareness. And so Kayla wrote a play on sexual assault awareness. Again, the goal was to work with the Department of Theater here at Michigan State University to put on a production that our students could be a part of and also see. That was going to happen in spring 20. So again, that's another thing that once we're back and we're ready to go, we're excited to see Kayla's vision for that production to go forth. And so our students are doing great work. They're consistently doing great work. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of their ideas and their passions, and I'm always happy to sit down and have conversations with them about those things. But those are just a few of the projects that our students are working on. And I know with this new motto, Stacia's going to talk a bit about how we can potentially some of these projects could work, in that new motto.
Thank you, LaDonna. The passion for the program that I see in everyone is just all so inspiring. Even though Aaliyah and Lacey are my peers, you all are just very easy people to look up to. So I appreciate you having me here today. We're going to get into the question aspect of this. But before we get into the more serious questions, I have a question for Aaliyah. What does Kangaroo taste like? Just
That's a great question. Honestly, if you didn't know it was Kangaroo, you could easily think it was like a medium rare steak. And then there is like this more gaminess, and I would say the grain of the meat is a little bit longer. I don't know if that makes sense, but it essentially tastes like beef, but a little different.
Good to know. So I'm going to start off with a question that I probably personally couldn't answer. So if Lacey can answer, because I know she's a little bit younger, I will be very impressed. But what do Aaliyah and Lacey want to do after college? Do you have an idea where you're leaning?
I can take this one first. So I have some ideas. I'm just a second year student, so luckily I don't need to know that yet. But definitely something I always say, like in interviews, I want to do something that kind of combines creative thinking and strategic thinking. So within that, I'm definitely interested in the areas of editing, specifically within magazine editing, as you probably could have guessed based on the things I'm involved with at school. But I also am really interested in public relations, working at a company whose values I really support, like Citizen Scholars, to communicate on behalf of that company and really raise awareness of what it does. So that's kind of where I see myself doing, but I'll let Aaliyah share now.
That's a great question. So I have definitely an idea of, where my passions lie and where my strong suits are. If I had to put like a name on it, it would definitely be working in an environment where I'm a resource unto others. And, as I've especially taken a sort of liking to student affairs and higher education, just in some of the roles that I've had during my undergraduate experience. I've been looking at some jobs. There was one that stood out to me that is working with like the Michigan College Access Network. So working alongside high schools in communities to promote, greater sort of rates of students going to college and having access to higher education. So that is something I could definitely see myself doing. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm looking at jobs and getting ready to start thinking about applying, but I have seen some that strike my fancy. Also, I would love to even work like in university, like recruitment or advising as well. So just really somewhere where I can be a resource and yeah.
Thank you.
You know, there was a part of Barb's question that I just wanted to come back to for just a minute, and I'm sure that Aaliyah and Lacey are probably even better at answering 99% of these questions than I am. But Barb, you had mentioned that, you know, our students do have to balance this because it's a co-curricular, right? So they still have their academic requirements and they have the co-curricular citizen scholars requirements. And we have simplified the program so that there are really only like 5 things that they're doing over the course of their 4 years. They take the class, they put together a committee, they do their proposal, their project, and their presentation. But along the way, we use a portfolio system. So it's basically an e-portfolio where students can drop this information in, and it's like a checklist. So they check it off, LaDonna can see it, I can see it, and we can see where everybody is as they're moving along through the program. So they always know what their next step is, and we always know where they are in the program. And of course, LaDonna is just the best at keeping in touch with them and reaching out with our fantastic students to keep them on track with everything. But that's one of the ways that we manage this. So we have LaDonna as this amazing advisor for life and academic stuff and programmatic stuff who keeps in touch with them. And then we have the e-portfolio where they drop in all of their information so that we can sort of know what's going on with them and with their projects all along the way.
Thank you for clarifying that. So this question is going to go to, I think LaDonna and Stacia would probably be able to answer this the best. So what is your role in working with students to ensure that they have the best experience possible in Citizen Scholars?
I can jump in first, LaDonna. Sorry, I just saw you unmute when I did. But, you know, I think that LaDonna's role is so one-on-one. Like, it's amazing. I love to watch her work. She is so much fun. But luckily, I get to work a lot with our student interns, which we haven't mentioned a whole lot, but we have a few students. Lacey and Aaliyah are 2 of them, but we also have 3 other students who work in the program as student interns, and it's really awesome to get to watch them not only be Citizen Scholar students and put together their projects and work through the program, but to also watch them administer the program, to work on our forward-facing sort of PR image. They work on our branding. They also they approve everything. We don't do anything in the program that our students don't have access to and don't see before it goes out. So our student interns are an amazing administrative force to be reckoned with. And then we also have a student advisory council. So even if students don't have time to actually contribute like hours per week of work, they can still be involved in how the program is run. So it's really cool to get that opportunity. But I have to say, I'm jealous. LaDonna gets so much one-on-one time with them. So LaDonna, do you want to talk about how you work with them?
Yeah, so in addition to those things, working with the interns and also the Student Advisory Council, just those, and it's so funny, I sort of to tag on to what Aaliyah was saying, part of her passion is just being a resource. That's honestly how I see myself within Citizen Scholars, as a resource for our students. And so I work with them on a very individual basis because each of them needs something different. All of them need to understand like the programmatic expectations of what Citizen Scholars is and what they have to do as a part of the program. But then also as individuals, they each need something different. And I'm grateful that I get to sit down and have conversations and help. Sometimes I can like an Aaliyah or like a Lacey, I'll have conversations and I'll see, oh, this is what you're great at. This is what you love to do. Let me provide you with opportunities to do that thing. So as a person, you can grow and be an amazing contributor to the world. And so I love that I get to do that. I love that I get to be that resource that connects our students with very real opportunities that challenge them, that grow them, that help them see things in themselves that maybe they didn't see beforehand. And so to sum it up in one word, I'm a resource, and I connect them with opportunities, and I make sure also that they understand the programmatic expectations of Citizen Scholars.
Thank you, LaDonna. So I know that this is a newer program, and I think one of the most important things in a program is keeping in touch with your alumni, especially kind of giving like the people in the program currently to see like what future they could have outside the program. So my question is how many graduates have gone through this program, like, give or take a few, and how do you stay in touch with them once they graduate?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So Citizen Scholars, right now, we currently have close to 80 students, a little more than 80 students that are working through the program at various stages. So we have students that are first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Those that have graduated, because again, it's a new program that started in fall 2016. So that means this past spring and like that fall before is when we really had our first cohort of graduates. And we were happy to graduate 11 Citizen Scholars this past time around. And what we do to keep in touch with them, I still email our Citizen Scholars, even the ones that graduated. I have conversation with them. In fact, I was just texting with one of our Citizen Scholars earlier today. And so that's also part of my role, is to maintain and to establish connections with our students. And so just staying connected through letting them know what's happening, what events we're doing. Also inviting them. We have some recent graduates, specifically Abby and Sophie that I just talked about earlier, that I will be inviting back to sort of share and to speak to our new cohort of students. And so we always want to make sure that we keep that connection and that networking strong. And so just always providing even the Citizen Scholars who are alumni that have graduated with opportunities to come back and share their knowledge, share their experiences. And also as they are moving along in their career, also understanding that these are now people that are resources for our students. You know, maybe we can do partnerships, right? And connect with community partnerships in that way. And so as much as possible, just wanting to stay connected and consistently understanding that their family, they will always be family, and they're always willing to come back and to serve and to work with us.
I can kind of speak to this too. So I recently was communicating with Sophie because we do have kind of similar career aspirations. Sophie is also interested in editing. So she's been a huge resource to me throughout my whole time at Michigan State. So even before Michigan State, she was someone who I reached out to. I called her and asked her questions about my major. And now that she's graduated, I've been in contact with her still to hear what she's doing, different things that I've joined. I had an interview for a different role that I was trying to be a part of where Sophie had some input. So I reached out, and she's always quick to respond and offer any advice she has. Another example is Abby again. She was working on a research project. She's in graduate school now, and so she had reached out to me to see if I had any help with that, to be a participant in that research. So that network is definitely something that current students even already are starting to engage with, and it's something that I'm really grateful for because I've been able to rely on that network a lot, both professionally and just that social connection and community.
Thank you. Network right now is really important more than ever, especially because finding jobs is quite difficult during the pandemic, especially. So this is a question probably more geared toward Aaliyah and Lacey, but could you talk a little bit more about how Citizen Scholars has been shifted a little bit because now we're doing everything remotely? If Aaliyah wants to start.
That's a great question. So we have been working, especially as an intern team, to sort of brainstorm how we can still incorporate that like Citizen Scholars experience, but adapt it in a virtual setting, which I'm sure everybody has had to sort of consider for whatever they're doing. And so we have done a couple of virtual events. So we did Citizens Comments, which I absolutely loved. Is essentially there's a topic at hand and we sort of just discuss it. It's kind of like a Zoom hangout. Everyone's sort of just sharing their own opinions, perspectives, and really just giving us a space to yes, it's virtual, but really just giving a space where you can have, peers to talk to you that you obviously otherwise would not be able to. So that is something that we've done. And we also did, we hosted sort of like a movie night watch. So we watched the 13th documentary and talked a bit about that. So we are still promoting very much virtual programs, but even still, things that are not, obviously, we can get sort of overloaded, right? You can get Zoom fatigued is what we call it. So there are certain things that we've been doing outside of that, like writing handwritten letters to our citizen scholars, let them know that we're thinking about them, letting them know that, we're going to get through this. And that was a nice tangible aspect to have. I will say I did write all the letters and my hand did hurt, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it. And so yeah, I think we're still innovating and still coming up with more and more ideas, but I'm very pleased with what we've done thus far and just looking forward to the future. Lacey, I'll have you go next.
Yes, so I can attest that as one of the recipients of Aaliyah's handwritten letters, I was very excited. Plus there were some stickers inside, which I'll never refuse. So I definitely was excited to get that letter, but we've been doing a lot of things to really keep that sense of community going. Like Aaliyah mentioned, those citizens' comments are a huge part. I know one of our other interns, Hayden, also has a weekly event called Citizens Chill, where it's kind of just like a virtual workspace for anyone to come and be creative, to kind of encourage people to still be exercising that creativity that may have been blocked a little bit with the pandemic. So that's another example of a more kind of relaxed thing that we're doing. And then we also definitely maintain that sense of communication. Myself and one of our other interns, Rebecca, we have weekly blog posts that go up that highlight different things that are going on with the program. I know next week we'll have a blog post that I just wrote about tips for exams as we approach the dreaded finals week. So those are some other ways that we really make sure that that community is a support system, even in a virtual sense. So.
Thank you, Lacey. So we are I'm going to take some questions from the attendees. So thank you for participating. Keep the questions coming. So this question I think would be geared towards Stacia and LaDonna more. How do discipline-specific faculty interact with the Citizen Scholars Program, staff and students related to events and projects?
Okay. Yes, I can start first, Stacia, and then you can chime in. And so the faculty, we are blessed, I'll say this, to have such great faculty members that are connected to Citizen Scholars Program and that truly do value what the program is, the core value of the program, and our desire to create and to impact change or to create change in the world. And so when I think of our faculty members, a few of them come to mind. There's a Morgan Shipley, who is a faculty member in the Department of Religious Studies, and he is so engaging with our students. We're inviting him, in fact, into AO 491 to host a couple workshops for our students. He works with our students on their community engagement projects. He actually taught one of the courses that we had when we did have a couple courses early on in the program. He was one of the faculty members, and he's always, and I'm in constant communication with Morgan, and we're going back and forth and we're brainstorming how he can stay engaged with the program, connect with our students, because our students respond greatly to Morgan Shipley. If I say Morgan Shipley's name, look at Lacey. Students smile because he is genuinely a wonderful resource for our students, and he loves our students. And so we're definitely always finding ways to make sure that we're pulling our faculty in to connect with our students, and that's part of what they're doing with the Citizens Project. There will be a faculty member that's a part of that team that's helping our students sort of navigate through what they want to do for their citizen project. And so faculty play a huge part in the Citizen Scholars Program. They always have, and they will continue to play a huge part. Stacia, I don't know if you may want to.
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in. So there's three ways that I know in the future that faculty will be involved. And one of those is our Faculty Staff Advisory Council, which we are excited to have formed this fall. So the faculty members who used to teach in the courses that we don't really have anymore, we still want to keep them involved in the program, and we want them to know what's happening with the program, and we really want their input, because the faculty in our different departments and majors and programs, they're who is working with our students, right? And they know the job market that the students are going to go into. So it's really great to have them, to have their input and their advice as we kind of move through this revision to Citizen Scholars. Another way is through partnerships. So for example, we're partnering with the art department so that we can work with their faculty and students to give them opportunities to do these citizen projects. The art department is really working on expanding their students' opportunities for community engagement, social justice work, and to work with nonprofits. And so in that way, they're basically doing exactly what we're hoping to do in our program. So we're partnering with the art department to help art students become citizen scholars in larger numbers and to get more involved on campus through our program. And then the last way that I can think of right now, because again, we're in this revision phase where we're relaunching the program in January. So we're getting excited about releasing all of this new information that we have. But the committee work for our students. So when students start to put together their citizen project, they're actually going to put together that committee I mentioned earlier that's going to have a faculty member or an advisor from their profession or major, so that when they put together the project, they'll be sure that whatever it is that they're putting the time and effort and energy into is something that will actually work in their field. Because although LaDonna and I love them and we can help guide them in a lot of ways, we aren't experts in every discipline or program, obviously. So it gets students an opportunity to have more of those in-depth conversations about what they're going to do in the future with the people who are going to help them do it.
Thank you so much. So I'm keeping an eye on the clock, so this will probably be our last question. How do you hope to grow this program in the future?
Well, I'll jump in first because I know that's my responsibility, right? But yeah, I mean, this program it's getting relaunched, and I keep saying that, but it's just really important to me to emphasize that we started out with these really great roots, and now we're hoping that the roots are like sprouting above ground, and all of our alums out there and all of our students who are in our program and leaving our program over the next couple of years, that they're really going to help us continue to grow. So community partnerships are one way that we're really thinking will help grow the program, because the more students we have who go out into the community, the more community partners that we will have. We obviously are also hoping to grow the number of students in the program, because now starting in January, we are encouraging transfer students and sophomores and juniors to join the program. In the past, this has only been a program for first-year students to join, but we're really hoping to expand that opportunity by allowing students to join the program later in their college careers. Freshmen are so bombarded and overloaded with information as they're starting college, and they just get all of these programs and all of this information about different things that they can do while they're here. And they really have to filter that down and decide what sounds most important or most relevant to me, but it might change over that first year. So it's going to be fun to see how many students we get as sophomores, or how many transfer students we get from like LCC, that when they come to MSU, they want to be involved in something like this. So those are two quick ways that we hope the program is going to grow. But again, our campus partnerships are growing. We're getting to work with different departments. And I think that we're getting the name out there a little bit more. We're actually just getting to talk to a lot more people and explain what it is that we do and why we're so proud of this work. Does anybody else want to jump in and talk about how they see growth happening?
I can jump in really quickly. I just wanted to add that in addition to the faculty and administration wanting it to grow, you can tell that the students in the program are really wanting to see that growth as well. As we were doing this kind of relaunch and reshaping the program, students were the first ones who were talking about what they wanted to see from the program and really giving their input. They were very engaged in that process, both in the student advisory committee and even in those classes that we as first year students had. As one of those first year students last year, was heavily involved in those conversations about how the program differed from what we were expecting and how we could get it closer to what we were really looking for. So seeing those changes take place make me feel really confident that not only did the administration listen to the student voices, but those changes are going to happen that really do allow the program to grow.
Yeah, I would definitely have to second the excitement from the student perspective and seeing the growth, and also just recognizing, I think it was sort of the beginning of my second semester as a citizen scholar, so still my first year, I realized, this being the second year this program has ever existed, and reflecting on my first semester, the potential to really change and impact lives this program has. And since then, I've just been so confident that, in a few years from now, however long from now, this is going to be a really highly regarded program at Michigan State. And I think it's so exciting to be sort of in that pioneer type phases where you're one of the first people to go through this and have those experiences. And so, I'm just really, I don't know how, and that's why we have great people like Stacia and LaDonna working to get that growth happening and the logistics behind it. But I know that it will grow and it will be a very, very successful program. And I'm super excited to have been a part of it and can't wait to hopefully contribute any way that I can in the future when I grow up. So I can't wait for that. I love the program and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. And it looks like our time is up, unfortunately. With that being said, I would just like to thank you all for speaking today. I really enjoyed learning about the Citizen Scholars Program and the great work you have done. I would also like to thank our attendees for taking the time out of their day to watch. It means a lot to have so many donors and alumni that care about the college. I hope you all have a great rest of the week, and all attendees may feel free to stick around for a little bit and talk to the presenters if they would like. And go green.
Go away.
Go on.